it's way easier to make friends if you are going to see pre-existing friends. But we have a bit of a sort of chicken and egg situation, is that if you don't know anyone in the place that you're visiting, then it's hard to get that social network off the ground. I've got a few friends who we've spoken to about this, like digital nomad type life, who are like kind of working in a traditional law / consulting / banking job here in London. The only people they know are the people from university / people working in that job. And to them, the thought of like making friends on the internet just seems a bit bizarre. And to them, like Twitter is this thing that gives them the news and like incendiary things that Donald Trump has, tweeted in the past. What does the process of making friends around the world look like these days?
Okay, so maybe a good place to start with this is like, where do you actually start? If you literally are someone who has the flexibility to try out the nomad lifestyle, what does it look like to kind of like meet, like where do you go in order to kind of like meet people on the ground? And I think number one is co-working spaces. So co-working spaces can be a really, really good source of social connections. So as well as physically like working in the same space as others, maybe going to get a coffee and ending up chatting to someone, that kind of thing. There are also a lot of like networking events or just general events, like whether it's like morning yoga or it's kind of like
salsa classes or things like that. Yeah,
like they tend to be like community hubs. So I guess in the same way that if you were to move to a new city as a remote worker, as in to relocate, let's say from London to Paris, you would be like, okay, how am I going to make new friends here? Maybe, and work, I still think, is a really big source of like new friends. So yeah, that would be number one, is like co-working spaces, super, super useful, really great resources. Some folks kind of say like, oh, I don't want to pay for a co-working space. I'd rather just get accommodation with a table. But it's like, okay, but then you will be lonely. Like as in you have to optimize for a whole bunch of different things as a nomad, not just like affordability or whatever. So I think there are sort of different benefits at different times. Another thing I'd say is that like being part of a remote team is a really good way to have international connections. So at Safety Wing, we have, I think it's 120 employees across 70 countries. So if I had just joined our team and I wanted to kind of travel around the world and not get too lonely, I feel like it's really easy to just be like, okay, so who do I speak to a lot at work? Shall I see if I can go and kind of visit them? And not necessarily like staying in their house, although some people very kindly do offer that. And that can be kind of a nice, intimate way to get to know a place and to kind of be closer with a colleague, but literally just going to the same city. And so it's like, okay, great. So I'm going to stay for 3 months, and once a week I'm going to have, in fact, London's a good example. It's like, okay, I'm going to spend 3 months in London, and once a week I'm going to have lunch with Ali. And that's kind of your starting point to then kind of build out more of a social network.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess it doesn't seem as hard as I'm kind of thinking it in my head, because like, yeah, if I were to move to, I don't know, a new city and didn't know anyone, I would do those things. I'd be like, all right, I need to actively take charge of my own social life, set up the Hinge profile or whatever, look on meetup.com to see what's going on, look at anything local, join a local gym, join a local badminton club, all of the usual things that a normal person would do to get to know people, I guess also applies to the digital nomad.
Totally.
Hey friends, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, then click here for the full unedited episode. And if you like that, then do please consider subscribing to the channel. It means a lot. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.